Copy these pros, make your first earnings, let's get right into it. First, we'll be looking at the most consistent solo player in the world, Malibuca. In this game, he's practically uncontested, but he still makes good use of the flare gun. He consistently shoots it in and around buildings to make sure he's safe while he's looting up. After he's done looting, he makes his way over to Iamzo and Rise Split to fight for the vault. But the way he gets it is actually really smart. Malibuca knows you can't build by this vault, so when he puts the key in, he instantly crouches and walks away while aiming down sight to make as little noise as possible. This means when a player goes for a play on him, they're taken completely off guard like this player here. He eventually goes up to Loot Island for some extra slurp juice and some gold, and when he does this, he makes sure to build a massive brick base over the flag. The brick on Loot Island is actually extremely easy to farm, so by doing this, Malibuca is making himself virtually impossible to fight while having very little risk of not getting his materials back. After getting a flag, he uses the launch pad to make an easy dead side rotation, and he uses the expanding side of zone to refarm and save material. But what happens when you don't have materials? For that, we'll have to take a look at Moneymaker. Moneymaker is lurking in old builds because he desperately needs a refresh. He's able to catch a player off guard and get a lot of damage, and he instantly takes his opportunity to exploit into the player's box and force a 50-50 to secure the refresh. However, while he's making his rotation, he sees a body of loot. Unfortunately, someone else is already going for it, but he's able to hit the player 100 and jump in the box yet again, forcing another 50-50 for an easy elimination. But why does he do this? Why would he risk his game when he's this stacked? Simply put, this player was a threat to his game. With this player out of the way, Moneymaker's rotation becomes easier and he can secure a potential refresh, which he doesn't end up getting, but that's besides the point. The next zone pulls max distance, so Moneymaker makes a smart decision to scout a path and rotate early. During his rotation, he spots two players fighting in the box and realizes their wall is low HP, and yet again he takes the opportunity to secure 2 free eliminations and cap off his materials. It's important you take advantage of opportunities as they present themselves instead of waiting to your shambles to get a refresh. But Moneymaker isn't only good at getting refreshes, he's also really good at using his materials efficiently. One way he does this is by using the simple ramp trick during his late game rotations. Moneymaker does this simple trick of ramping up a few layers, reversing those ramps, and using the momentum from his slide as a speed boost. He actually does this a lot. The next zone pulls really far again, and he's able to slide downhill to gain some momentum, ramp up while blocking his back, and continue switching layers until he has some space of his own. It's important to note that he checks height before he does this to make sure he won't get fried. Speaking of height, at this point he has it, but he chooses not to play it. Taking height early in solo games is extremely risky, so not playing it ends up being a good decision because the height player ends up in a pointless 50-50 just seconds later. Since he's playing second height, he has very little pressure being put on him, making his rotations easier as a result. This means he can wait till he's fully backslided the zone and use this simple rotation setup every single time. He starts by placing a ramp below him to run on and a ramp above him to block his head. Then he sprint jumps into a slide while ramping off his back and continues his process until he's safely in zone. He does this every single rotate and it saves him so many materials, and right here he's able to combine it with some good awareness to get a free refresh. With this kill, he drops his AR for an extra med mist to make sure he has the most heals in the lobby, and from here the win is pretty simple. Lastly, we'll be looking at the best player in the world, Vino. Vino does all the little things right. The first thing I noticed is the way he plays his fight. He always holds his shotgun out whenever he's boxable, making it extremely hard to edit on him, and as a result he gets a lot of free elimination. To add on to this, despite being very mechanical, he's very patient. He doesn't try to outskill his opponent with flashy mechanics. Instead, he plays extra slow, always trying to bait his opponent into wasting their shotgun shot and then taking a nice right hand peek. On top of this, he rarely takes 50-50s. He'll always choose to place an extra build or make an extra reset instead of taking a name duel, and the only time you'll ever see him get into a box is when he has a significant health advantage. Honestly, there's so many things I can mention that makes Vino's game special, but for now I'll be moving on to his in-game. If you want me to do a full video covering what makes Vino so great, make sure to let me know in the comments below. His in-game structure is almost identical to Moneymaker's. He takes go-ahead refreshes when he has the opportunity, and he also plays really aggressive, always looking to catch players off guard, and as a result, he almost never needs a refresh. The one major difference in their gameplay, however, is Vino uses the Sharp Tooth shotgun as opposed to Moneymaker, who uses the Havoc. But why does this make a difference, you might ask? Well, let's start here. Vino is just disengaged from a fight and he needs a refresh, so he drops into a bush where he spots this player. He's able to line up a good shot, and this shot hits for over 90 damage, giving him an easy entrance into this fight. If he were to have the Havoc, he would have to rely on the player getting closer to him or rely on his spray weapon to get these tagged, but instead he's able to crack this player's shield in one shot and quickly follow up on this for a max refresh. All of his rotates start off like Moneymaker's, but Vino applies a lot more pressure. He's able to abuse the Sharp Tooth shotgun to get heavy damage tags, making players too weak to open on him and securing some free refreshes in the process. But he's not always as aggressive. Oddly enough, in the 11th zone, we see Vino need the refresh for the second and last time in this game. He plays extremely patient, baiting a body of loot for a free kill, which gets him the necessary heals to win the game, but of course he finishes it out by eliminating the rest of the players, even killing Tayson on low ground to finish with a 20 bomb. If you've made it this far, like the video, subscribe if you're new, and comment the purple heart to let me know you made it to the end.
That was you, Sir Dion? That just blobbed me? You were a blobinator? You're a fucking dingus, bruh.